Rhoda.
Welcome. I'm so glad this worked out.
Me too. This is great. Thank you for inviting me.
Introduce, this is Keith.
Good morning, Kimberly.
Hi, Keith. How are you today?
How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. So
I like your background.
Oh, which one? Mine?
Yeah.
Thank you. I got it so that I can start doing my videos. I'm going to start filming those quite soon. So it's my official backdrop.
Here's David. That's great. Good morning. Miss Adele.
okay, John Vandersal's making. Oh, people are falling in slowly. Mr. Garrison, correct?
Hi, Dave. You're muted. Okay.
Hey, Adele, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
We're good. We're gonna have a gang of people on this morning, so
Great.
we got another couple of people dropping in, and then
I thought I was going to be anonymous, Rhoda.
Yeah. Well, you could be anonymous if you wanted to, Mr.
It
Garrison.
doesn't matter. Whatever.
So we got a couple other people dropping in, and so then we'll get started here in a minute. Hey, Zach, good to see you, buddy.
Morning, everybody.
Hi. Hi, Adele.
Good. Zach, you got my email that I followed up with that speaker?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, John.
Morning.
How you guys doing? So we got a gang of people on. I think I'm gonna have two more, but we're not gonna wait. We're gonna get it rolling because, as Adele will tell you, we like to keep people on time. So, because the standing joke around here is this starts early and it runs into my nap time, and I can't have anything running into my nap time. Okay, so we're gonna get rolling. Good morning to everyone, all of you guys that could make it this morning. And my name is Keith Rand, but we normally go around and introduce ourselves, and I will ask you to introduce yourself and give us about a minute of who you are and what you do, and I will announce your name the way I see you on my screen. So we'll just start like that. We'll save our speaker, Kim Gilbert, for last. And so with that in mind, welcome to CBN, and I'll start out with Miss Rhoda Israelov.
Good morning, everyone. So happy that we were able to pull this together from all parts of the world. My goodness. I'm Rhoda Israelov. I own Say It For You, and we are a team of ghost writers that help do creative writing that keeps your customers coming back and attracts new ones. So we say it for you.
All right, thank you, Rhoda. Mr. Garrison.
I'm Dave Garrison, and I work for Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. I work with wealth advisors and real estate agents in educating regarding the use of housing equity in retirement income planning and home purchasing.
Not a problem. John Vandersall. You're muted.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
John Vandersall, real estate agent with FC Tucker in Indianapolis. I office out of the Keystone and the Crossing branch. I service Marion County and surrounding counties, residential.
Good morning. Adele Bush.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful sunny day in Columbus, Ohio. My name is Adele Bush. I own and operate ASB Business Services, LLC. We do personalized, customized, and exclusive executive telephone outreach. We also do business research and prospect development. And what we strive for is that all our clients have the right contacts in the right companies, and we get them in the right way before we make the phone call. So that way you have the right person at your fingertips and your calls are far more productive and far more effective. And we have a greater rate of success for you. So if there's anything that I can help you with, please feel free to give me a call. Adele Bush, ASB Business Services, LLC, working out of Columbus, Ohio, but we can reach the world through one phone call at a time.
Thank you, Adele.
Thank you.
Zach Fox.
How you doing, everyone? Zach Fox, Edward Jones Investments, assisting people and businesses in their investment needs.
And I'm Keith Rand. I own a company called First Quality Printing, and we do printing for anybody that writes us a check that doesn't bounce. And and I'm also coordinator for CBN. And I'll let Miss Gilbert introduce herself. Kimberly introduce herself later when she starts speaking. The way we normally run this thing, it's pretty informal. I always like to start out by just a little topical, what's happening in the world today, and then we'll talk a little bit about, somebody can talk to me a little bit about the business. Let me direct a question here first. John Vandersall, real estate is smoking, baby. Talk to us.
You know, I'm so welcome to October 1, Q4. I'm eagerly waiting September numbers, but you know, August numbers, yeah, historically low inventory, specifically Metro Central Indiana, and yeah, we don't see any signs of slowdown, right? Homes they're trading rapidly, and it's like I always say, you know, I comfort both my buyers and sellers by reminding them that, well, so every day there's new listings. And then also every day there's new buyers that enter the market. So, and people buy and sell for all kinds of reasons, right? Moving, family, moving because of job relocation, or, you know, one of my sellers right now, they just became empty nesters, so they don't need so many bedrooms, right? But yeah, it's hot. It's the good old fashioned supply and demand at its finest.
Not a problem. Not a
Every
problem.
day, John, I drive by the brand new to-be headquarters where John is going to be on East 82nd Street. It's shaping up to be a gorgeous building near between Keystone and Clearwater. So
Yeah.
for that beautiful structure.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks nice. We'll have to have you over when it's finished.
Not a problem. Anybody? Hey, Zach, you know, I don't have my other financial guy here with me today. Talk to me a little bit about the markets, man. I'm not mad. That's all I can say. I'm not angry.
Yeah, no, we saw a good August. You know, September saw a little bit of a pullback. You know, all the signals are pretty supportive. So, you know, we kind of see a bigger gradual uptrend from here, although there's going to be some short-term ups and downs. You know, the fiscal and monetary policy are both still very supportive of business, but we do have some headwinds, obviously, with coronavirus and the unemployment numbers still, you know, at pretty dismal spots right now. So,
yeah,
you know, we can be cautiously optimistic, but you know, we see, you know, a lot of things being very supportive for an uptrend right now. Good.
You wrote it. You know, you're making a lot of phone calls. Obviously, half the people on the screen are because of you. What are you finding out? I got one more person to join us. What are you thinking about in terms of how you're dealing with your communications and these people in terms of actually doing work with people potentially? Give us a minute on that while I let Mary Ann Yates in.
So you asked me, right?
Yes, the only rotor I know.
Today at or tomorrow actually at 10:30, we have a long Zoom call, three-way, with my writer/web designer and a client in Oklahoma City who runs a special kind of consulting business. And we're going to totally redo her website, her presentation content, PowerPoint slides, a big plan for how she's going to address clients. And I never would have met someone from Oklahoma City where I've never been. I didn't know no one there, but it's all because of Zoom meetings. So in a way, everything that was taken away was put back in terms of opportunity for dealing with people. And apparently, you know, the presence and the discussion that we had online was enough to inspire a beginning of confidence. So it's very, very interesting. I want, for the sake of my guests today, who are brand new, to tell you that I actually joined Circle Business Network in 1981. Okay, so think about this. So it's, more than half my life I've been a member of this very group, and it has changed. It was founded in negative reaction, interestingly enough, to the BNI type networking groups of the time, where you had to have a lot of rules. You had to give 2 leads every time you attended a meeting. You had to this, you had to that. And so the founder, who was an attorney, a business attorney, decided that he wanted a group with fewer rules and more really going on in terms of trust. And so this group has persisted for so many years because of that. And until COVID-19, of course, we would meet in person every single Thursday morning, unless it was Thanksgiving or another holiday. And think of that, every single week at 7:15 in the morning, we would gather at either initially a restaurant and then later at a cafeteria in a business building. And here we are still today. So it's just an amazing story, and I'm very, very proud that I was able to help continue it.
Not a problem. Good morning, Mary Ann. If you'll take a minute and introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what your company is.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Yates, and I own Elder Moves, or EM Transitions. We were in the middle of changing our name, and then COVID hit, and we found that that wasn't a viable option at this time. So I just introduced myself as both. We actually help people downsize, organize, and we do a lot of decorating. We transition them into the new location and completely set them up. And as far as the house that's left behind, if there are things that need to be done, then we make sure that they're done, unless the realtor will do it, because that's free. So we let the realtor do it.
Don appreciates you dumping on him, by the way.
That was for John. That was for John. That's the reason why I said that.
Yeah.
So, I do have one announcement, just so everyone knows who hasn't been notified. Duo's closed.
Yes.
They just couldn't make it on 4 employees and the people who were stopping by to eat outside. So they closed. So just so that you know, at some point we may, if we don't just continue Zoom, we may want to look for another location.
Right. We'll have a local meeting and decide how we want to do the in-person here. For those of you who are not in out of state, Adele and Kimberly, our Marion County is the densest populated county in the state of Indiana. And so we have additional restrictions in terms of social distancing over everybody else in the state. And it is just, it's super aggressive for a lot of reasons. And so that is really changing how we deal with our social distancing issues. So we'll figure something out locally. But in the meantime, we got Zoom. If Mr. Garrison would just give us a little bit more about his business, and then and then Adele too, because I want to make sure everybody at least talks about their business for a minute or two more. And then we're going to let Kimberly speak. Mr. Garrison?
Sure. I mentioned that I was, I think I used the term housing equity. I'm in the reverse mortgage business, and there's an increasingly strong value proposition these days with a more massive affluent to even wealthy client who can integrate their housing wealth to do a variety of retirement income solutions, such as mitigating sequence of returns risk, using housing wealth to pay for maybe otherwise unaffordable long-term care insurance, delaying Social Security benefit inception. And on the real estate side, it's a similar leveraging proposition that allows the senior buyer to leverage up their home buying power by as much as 50% by financing a portion of their home with a a reverse mortgage. So despite what the common perception, I'll say, of reverse mortgages in the planning landscape, the doctoral research now from some of the, like the American College of Financial Services, where guys are getting their CFPs and a variety of professional designations. The research now is that this is too important to ignore. And so I spend, as I said, most of my time educating. I'm trying to break down truism barriers.
Yeah, don't give too much away, because you're going to be one of our scheduled speakers. So I want you to reserve that. Hey, Adele, if you'll just give us a couple more minutes too, and then we'll move on to Kimberly.
Well, thank you, Keith. Hi, everyone. This is the time of, actually, this time of COVID has been very productive for me, because a lot of people are not able to get out and visit their clients face to face like they used to. So they're asking me to make phone calls and telephone appointments for them, and it's working out very well. I always tell people, it's important for you to keep in touch with your customers, clients, and prospects, regardless of the circumstances. Because if you're not doing that on a regular basis, two things are happening. Number one, you're missing out on breakthroughs for your business, as well as for your clients. You're giving them opportunities that they may not have had. And the other thing, somebody else will call them, and that someone else is likely to be your competitor. And, when I hear that on the phone, it breaks my heart, because I know it doesn't have to happen. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you sustain your business and grow your business. Feel free to reach out to me, have a conversation, and we'll see what we can do to help each other. Adele Bush, ASB Business Services.
Sounds like a win. Sounds like a win.
Thank
Kimberly,
you,
with that, we're going to keep it on the clock here. If you'll just introduce yourself, and if anybody wants to speak to her, please raise your hand, because we got a lot of heads today, and I'll let you speak. But otherwise, I'd like you all to mute so that we don't interrupt Kimberly. Kimberly, it's the Kimberly Gilbert Show.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Rhoda especially for inviting me. Like she was mentioning, the magic of Zoom is really introducing people all across the country. And so I met Rhoda in one of those network after work meetings, I believe it was, and it was just fortuitous. So thank you, Rhoda. So hi, everyone. I'm Kim Gilbert. It says Kimberly, but I actually prefer Kim because it's just easier to say. My business is Gilbert Business Consulting, very easy to remember. I am a small business consultant. I am based in New Hampshire, so on the very southern border of New Hampshire, right with Massachusetts. So I'm actually kind of almost in the tri-state area, because it's very close around here. All the New Hampshire people shop in Massachusetts, so we're very close. So basically right now I am focusing on helping small businesses, small mom and pops, survive COVID. And if you know anything about New Hampshire, we're all small business up here, and it's been quite devastating. I was talking to a Yelp data mining person, and they were the only company that was doing any kind of research at all about small business closures in New Hampshire. And he said, we lost 600 businesses temporarily, and 400 of them will not be reopening. So we've lost 400 small businesses in New Hampshire. And that breaks my heart, because I have an awful lot of respect for people who put everything on the line and put all of their money into one pot and try to run a business. So my goal is to help them as much as possible. And I have a business background, but I also have a health and safety background. I was a consultant for 7 years, so I can go into a facility and rearrange and do all of the PPE training and all of the reorganization of the workspaces to have to basically make not only the customers feel comfortable to come in and feel safe, but also the employees, because we can't forget about them. They have to deal with the customers, and you want everybody to feel comfortable. So the health and safety part is great, and that's pretty much been done now. People who are opening or reopening have reopened. Now we're moving into the phase of maybe restructuring things going forward in their business, or streamlining what they offer for products and services, and also coming up with what I'm calling contingency action plans. Some businesses call them emergency plans, or just the general plan going forward to deal with other types of emergencies that might happen. And it's not necessarily a COVID shutdown. It could be a hurricane came through and the power was out for 2 weeks. So we need to have plans in place going forward so that a lot of these small businesses that are able to survive now don't get hit again with something else coming down the pike, because there's always something else coming down the pike. And I feel like a lot of these poor businesses got caught short. No one planned to be shut down for 2 or 3 months. It's not even inconceivable. Even last year, you never would have thought this in a million years that they would have been shut down for months at a time. And no one has that kind of cash just sitting in reserve to pay for employees that are not working. It's really difficult. So as part of my COVID package, I do provide a free COVID clinic for any businesses to call in. They can just click on my website, and I can send a link for the Tuesday COVID clinic at 10 a.m. every Tuesday. That's free to anyone that wants to just basically show up and ask a question, or just if they need a sounding board, or just maybe a third-party perspective on issues. That's a free service I offer. And also on my website, I do have a free COVID evaluation to see if you're ready to reopen during COVID. And moving forward after COVID, and I'm very hopeful that we have something coming down the pike that will alleviate some of these closures and allow us to open up and work more freely. And so in light of that, I also do provide quite a bit of CX help with small mom and pops. And I know that sounds strange to some business people here, because a lot of small mom and pops don't worry about CX. They don't look at customer experience at all, because they simply don't have the time or the resources to do that. So I provide that resource. So that includes, and this is the fun part for me anyway. So I love small mom and pops, specifically trade companies. So home improvement contractors, and so siding installers and window installers, and people that will come in and replace your stairway in your home. Anybody who's working inside the home, I love working with them. I have a specific proprietary process that I can help a small business with to smooth out their whole customer experience from the moment they have an invoice. The moment they have a proposal all the way to the payment of the invoice, to smooth that process. And it helps not only the customers know what to expect when they have workers in their house, but it also helps the tradesmen themselves feel comfortable working in someone else's home. Because there are these little gray issue things that pop up a lot that really affect the overall experience for the customer. And I want the customers to refer out my clients because they did such a good job in their home. And so that works out for everybody. The customer's happy, my client is happy. And that's my ultimate goal. So CX for small businesses is really the reason why I created my company. And the COVID thing just kind of popped up in the middle of things. And so there was a need there, and I pivoted towards that. But at some point, when life returns back to a little bit more normal, we'll refocus on CX. Am I talking too much? Because I feel like I'm talking a whole lot. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Because I really was hoping that Tony would show up today. Is Tony's not here on the call today?
No, he's not on the call today.
Oh.
Sometimes he does just phone in, but Tony's Tony.
I was hoping he was here because I wanted to talk to him about his CIH, because he has a safety and industrial hygiene background. And so, like I said, I did that for 7 years. So I was hoping that he was here and shoot questions at me, but he's not here to do that.
Hey, I do have a question for you. So when you target these particular kinds of businesses, how do you take care of your outreach, and how do you find them?
Well,
or do they find you?
It's been a mix of, I've gotten some very interesting referrals. I'm a member of a couple of professional organizations. So the Society for Professional Consultants, which is based out of Massachusetts, and then the Association for Consulting Expertise, which is based out of Maine. They're both really great groups, and I'm on their website as a member. So I've just been getting calls from, oh, I found you on this website, and can you help me out with this? which has been a boon for me because the Chambers of Commerce was really my go-to avenue for reaching small businesses, and they are not open up here. We have no chamber events. They're not even Zooming. They're not even answering emails. They're shut down. And for the life of me, I can't quite understand why, because the need for them right now has never been greater. So I don't understand why they're closed, but and that's okay as far as from my perspective anyway, because I'm still able to get work through other avenues. But it's been a little bit disheartening because the most local businesses to me, unless I go knocking on their door, I'm not able to really to get in touch with them. And we have lost quite a few in this area, quite a few, and it's very sad to me, especially the restaurants that have been around for a while, or the little antique shops that simply just couldn't stay open because they couldn't open their doors for the longest time. You can only hang on for 2 months, and then that was it.
Yeah. What are the biggest mistakes that you see businesses in general, or practices in general, making when it comes to customer experience?
Well, I think that a lot of times with the small mom and pops, they have a person will go out and do a quote on a job for a house, but a different person will do the work. And so the communication between the person doing the quote, which is generally the owner, and then the tradesman, which is sometimes a contractor subbed out, there's no communication there. So when the contractor arrives, he's got a different story in his mind as to what the job is. And so the customer, the homeowner, is saying, well, the owner told me you were going to do this and you want to do that. And there's this, it's almost at loggerheads. Yeah. So my process is to smooth that out, not only between the owner and the tradesman, but with the customer as well, so that the expectations, I'm being very specific when I say expectations. I'm being so specific. I say, the dumpster is going to be parked here, and the work trucks will be parked here, and we will work from 8:30 to 5 o'clock so that everybody's on the same page. And you would be amazed at the number of times that homeowners get very, very angry if their contractor's 20 minutes late, or he wants to work past 6 o'clock. How dare he? So if we have it all laid out, there's not, all of that rough stuff is smoothed out and gone away. And then the customer experience, it just naturally improves. It just naturally improves. Hi, Marianne.
Hi, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for sharing. Hey, I was wondering if you're helping people transition into a computer-based sales program.
Yes.
Especially like antique dealers, we're finding in Indianapolis that they can keep their doors open only if they have the computer component.
You're absolutely correct. I have a small business that I've been working with. It's a furniture manufacturer. And when I say mom and pop, it's actually mom and pop, 2 people. And they would normally use the home shows, all the local fairs and the home shows, as their main avenue for selling their furniture. And it's somewhat pricey, high-end furniture. So over the course of the last 3 or 4 months or so, I've helped them to start selling online and to also reconfigure what it is that they're selling to have not such high-end furniture, a little bit more reasonably priced, and they're selling like hotcakes. They're having a hard time keeping up with the demand, which is a nice problem to have. It's the opposite of the other problem they were having, but it's a better problem to have overall. But yes, absolutely. The push to put everything online it's been an exponential need at this point. I mean, just through the roof. And even restaurants just putting their menus online so that people can call in and order food. I mean, that's huge. That's like a huge, and it was funny to me because being here in New Hampshire, we have to drive very far to go everywhere. There's nothing close. So there are a lot of times where we want to go out to eat and we want to see what they have before we get there. No menus online. Well, guess what? Everybody's menu is online now, instantaneously. And I think overall it will, with the closure, keeping aside the closures and all that, and those are horrible stories, but the ones that are surviving, I think, are going to be stronger when they emerge from this, because all of the stuff that they're putting in place now will help them with any future issues or emergencies that come up. Thank you.
Hey, Kimberly,
Yes.
couple of quick questions. In terms of dealing with these small businesses, how do you price it, particularly during COVID, when everybody knows that everybody's under pressure, revenue pressure to get money and revenue pressure not to spend it? So talk a minute about that.
Pricing is always such a sticky situation. I don't lower my prices. I do offer deferred payment. So if someone is in desperate need of help, I'm very willing to help with all of that. In fact, I do a lot of phone calls. I don't charge at all for the phone calls sometimes because that just happens. I know. Don't say that out loud, right? But I do offer deferred payments for those individuals that are having a hard time getting the funds. And I charge on an hourly rate for almost all of my services, with the exception of my, I do have the CX program, what to expect when you're expecting contractors. That's a set price for that. But for one-to-one contracting and working on, say, putting out an email campaign, marketing campaign, that's on an hourly rate, and it is deferred if they can't pay.
Couple of other things. What's been your most successful in your mind? Like, oh, I never thought this business would make it. I helped them, and so give me that. Okay. And then one where you went like, oh, I thought everything went right, and let's not talk about that business.
Well, I can talk about that first. The golf course I worked with, it did not work out. I was so hoping that they were able to pivot a little bit better, and they were not. So I have had not great successes with my little golf course that I was working with. They're still in business and they're fine, but I think they're in business in spite of the challenges that they're facing. But my most successful one was a small a salesman that worked for a tool manufacturing company. He's a contractor salesman, and he had never had to do any kind of outreach with emails or anything. He used to go drive to the manufacturing facilities and sell his products in person. And I was able to help him launch his first email marketing campaign, and he was through the moon, over the moon excited about it, which thrilled me because you never know with some clients how they're going to take certain things. And as far as helping him, he drafted an email, and then I completely rewrote it. It wasn't much left of what he had written, and I was like, oh, please don't be too upset. But he loved it. He was very happy, and we went back 3 times. So he's been, that is my success story, and I'm very happy for him that he's so happy with it, and it was working for him. He is making sales, so that's my success story.
Yeah, and I brought that up because, Adele is in the business of making phone calls. And I thought about you and her, and you are tangential to each other. And at some point you may run into a client who may need an additional support that's close to what you do, but maybe not what you do in terms of that phone side. And, just keep Adele in mind in case that happens. I was trying to be very specific about that. Yeah. Zach, and then Marianne.
Yeah. Kim, thanks for sharing this pretty insightful stuff. You mentioned putting together like emergency plans for businesses and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So back in the day, a number of years ago, I was OSHA certified 10 and 30 hour. Do you find yourself like dabbling into that or knowing some about that with putting together some of those plans for your customers?
I am OSHA HAZWOPER certified. That's 40 hours, hazardous waste emergencies and operations. Yeah, that's my former life, and I am tapping into it all the time. And that's why I was kind of excited if Tony was here, because I see that he's a CIH, which is a certified industrial hygienist. And when I was doing health and safety consulting, I did a ton of training for PPE, hazardous waste, bloodborne pathogens, lockout, tagout, fall protection, everything. That was my purview at the time. And I left that behind years ago, and then started this business, and all of a sudden I'm back to doing health and safety consulting, and And I was one of the people in March that was wearing a mask and gloves in the grocery store, and everybody was looking at me like I had 3 heads. And now I'm the one saying I don't necessarily need to wear the mask all the time because I'm not in that target group of the COVID. And that was because of my health and safety background. When you don't know what your hazards are, you use more PPE. And then when you figure out what your hazards are, you can adjust accordingly. So that all dovetailed pretty nicely into the COVID stuff. I just, I almost wish I didn't have to use it though. I wish the COVID thing I wish it would just die now, to be honest. I wish it would go away.
Marianne, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to promote Rhoda also because she does the blogs, and I see all of you working together. And because you can't be everything to everyone. So by kind of synchronizing all of that, the 3 of you could have a national corporation.
I love it. By the way, Kim has her guest blog post on Say It For You.
Yay!
This week. So that's please go to my website and read her guest blog post. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting that because of the increased presence online of everybody because of COVID, I'm getting about 2 inquiries a week for people who want to pay me to put their blog post on my Say It For You. And I have a totally non-monetized website, meaning nobody pays me and I don't pay anybody for anything. I'm just giving information. So I always answer, if you have something valuable to say that has to do with marketing, with sales, training, with blogging, then send it to me. And sure, you can put it on there, but it's not going to link to a client of yours. It will link to your website if you're an appropriate link for me. But everybody is out there trolling for ways to make money, and sometimes it's
not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing, not a bad thing at all. I'm also very happy that I was able to work together with Adele on a client who may be a speaker for Circle Business Network in the future. And the assignment was to write an email. So literally write an email that would get the attention so that when Adele called, there would be a backup piece. And so that's worked out well so far.
Rhoda did a great job on that email. That was amazing. I've never seen an email like that. So hopefully we're going to get a lot of responses from that.
I've seen a lot of emails from Rhoda, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But the main thing, and Dave knows that he and I have talked about this, that I always am in favor of shorter rather than longer. So in other words, if you can see it in one eyeful, that's better than giant pieces, generally speaking. I mean, there's all kinds of nuances here, but you want to make it a visual impact. The print itself needs to make a visual impact. So that was the point. This business owner had so many things to say about her product that she wanted to say all of them. And I said, no, they can't swallow all of them at once.
Yeah, I'm not going to read. Yeah. Kimberly, during the course of if you give us just a little bit of background about you again, and like, when did you start your business? Because one of the things that we do that's unique about CBN is like, we want to know about your business and hopefully we make some connections, but we really want to spend a minute or two learning about our members so that we can learn to trust each other, because we found out you do business with people you trust more than anything else. So if you give us a minute or two about like Kimberly.
Sure. So I have a bachelor's degree in environmental science, and I have a master's degree in business. And I was in health and safety for 7 years consulting. And then I opened a title researching company, and I had that for 5 years. And when I had my son, I stayed home with him, and he's now pretty self-sufficient, so I don't need to be home so much. And I spent about a year planning out my consulting business before I opened it. And I opened it the week before the shutdown in March of this year. So I have the most perfect timing. Woo!
Goodness.
Yeah, so it's been interesting because like I said, I've been able to help with the COVID stuff. So that was great. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. And going forward, I really want to help with the CX stuff. And like I said, with the businesses that are surviving, they've learned lessons already, and I think they will be stronger. And I'll only make that process better if I can, if they'll let me help them out with certain things. But we live in New Hampshire, and we're originally from Connecticut, but we're skiers, and we were always coming to New Hampshire to ski. So we decided, why are we still living in Connecticut when we can just move to New Hampshire? So we did that about 7 years ago, and we love it up here. It's like I said, it's quite rural, but it's beautiful. And let's see, I have 2 dogs that are very, very, very spoiled, and I have my most favorite thing to do for my hobby is I work with stained glass. So I take old lanterns from yard sales and from thrift shops that are broken, the glass, and I replace all the glass with stained glass panels that I design. So that's my passion on the side. And I think that's it for me. I did want to ask everyone here what they love most about the Circle Back group and what they've gotten out of the group. If anybody wouldn't mind letting me know about that.
Kimberly, can you please be sure to put your contact information in the chat, please?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll do that now so I don't forget.
Somebody give her like why CBN? What do you like about this group?
I think the trust has really been a factor. That we have a member who was unable to attend today because he works in landscaping, and this is his busy season. But he said he coined the humorous phrase, what happens in CBN stays in CBN. And it has been a great level of trust and the ability to really be vulnerable in front of the other people instead of competitive. And I think that's very important. A lot of the people that you see here, know more about me than many other people with whom I react. Of course, John was my realtor, so he knows everything about me. So he helped me transition into the place where I now live. And so I think that's the main thing about it that makes it very, very special and dear to me. And I'm hoping that we can find a way to grow it a little bit and then include people like you, Kimberly and Adele, somehow maintain the online presence, even if we also meet in person.
Yeah, let me just give a little bit of my background. Long before I was in business, I sold coal. Yep, the stuff that's environmentally detrimental. Then we eventually went into business, and I was in business for a long time and bought and sold companies, and then bought another printing company. And that guy was a member of CBN and roped me into getting into this thing. And but it has been a real interesting education process for me. I focus primarily on large contracts. So I not necessarily thought that these people were going to be my business partners, although I have had some business. But for me, the experience of getting to know people who think a little bit like me and getting some feedback from people like Tony, who I've called on professionally, or hearing Zach discuss the market, or seeing John deal with these real estate things, so that I can have a fair perspective of what's going on in business. That's the benefit I got from CBN. I would love to get a lot of business, but I knew what my target market was, so that's why I was there. So and I'm an old head. I'm behind Rhoda now. I'm not 80 years into this thing, but I've been around for a little bit.
I'll follow and share that one thing I enjoy most is hearing from others' industries as well. Not unlike you, Keith. As my head's in the real estate 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's nice to hear what's going on in other industries. And I too have a varied background from banking to higher education to hotel management. Yeah, so it's nice to, again, hear what's going on in your businesses, and hopefully I can, continue to relate to my clients who are in a variety of industries. Rhoda introduced me to CBN a few years ago. We have some other mutual acquaintances, and it was fun to be her realtor and help her sell her condo that she owned for better part of 30 years, right?
Yeah, 33.
33.
I think the other thing that you'll all agree is that this is a knowledge sharing forum as well. And so Keith is very involved civically in terms of the city and development of the city and neighborhoods. And I think I learned a lot about that from him. And he shaped a lot of my opinions about that, because just listening to him, so it helps you form and formulate your own way of looking at the world, just being with this group and sharing so much. I think that's really been an important part of it for me.
No problem at all. Hey, thank you. So, hey, Kimberly, you got about 5 minutes or so. If you got anything else you want to add to this, just so you know, Kimberly, we do record this. So at some point I edit it, and it'll be out on the internet there. So you want to be smiling and looking your best. And then we also make sure that we send it to some of our CBN members work. This hour and this time doesn't necessarily work for them. So it will be sent out usually within a week or so. So you'll get an email from me. Second thing, please make sure you send me your contact information, because I always put that in the video, so that in the event someone wants to contact you. So you got about 3 or 4 minutes. You want to wrap it up for us?
Sure. Well, I want to thank Rhoda, because she was instrumental in getting me here, and I never would have heard about the Circleback group otherwise. And I have to say, I have been to Indiana several times, but not to Indianapolis. I've been to the northern parts of Indiana, so South Bend, Elkhart, I think it's called. And so when I was doing health and safety, I worked for Eklund, which is an auto parts manufacturing company, and they have an awful lot of factories in Indiana and throughout the Midwest. So I was in Indiana probably 10 or 15 times at least, doing my health and safety inspections of their facilities out there. So I have been to Indiana. Which is really kind of nice, because sometimes when you go to these meetings across the country, like in Chicago, I'd only ever been there once, so I didn't have really anything to say about Chicago, just passing through basically, but I did know this state, which is kind of nice. But again, thank you so much for having me here and taking the time and letting me talk about my business. And if there's anyone that wanted to just participate in my free COVID clinic, my website information is in the chat box. I also offer I say a half an hour phone call for free, but it's never a half an hour. It's always a little bit longer than that. But that's just an initial call. If anybody wants to give me a call, that's absolutely that's very welcome, actually. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I have my profile I've been working on quite a bit, and my site I've been working on quite a bit. And Rhoda has inspired me to do some videos, because she has some nice videos on her website. So I am very excited to be working on those. In fact, I have the script written out for the first 2 of my initial videos I'm going to be putting on my site. So look for those if you're looking around and surfing around on my site. So thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate meeting everyone. Thank you.
All right. With that, hey, good to see Adele, I miss your husband. Where's your husband?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I said, where's your husband? I miss him now.
Oh, he's working down in the basement.
Yeah. So Adele's husband is very entertaining, and they are just a couple. That's all I can say. They're just a couple. So
let's get him on the speaking rotation.
Yeah, we're gonna put those 2 on the tour. Hey, with that, what I want to do is say thank all you guys for showing up. Like I did say, this will be recorded. So because of that, I like to leave with a smile. So if you guys would just smile for me, because I send a picture out. There you go. Let me see some teeth. There we go. And I'll take a picture of that. I'll send this to all the people and all our members, but appreciate it. And Kimberly, Adele, everybody else, you guys are always welcome to attend. We'll keep you on the membership for, at least a couple of more weeks or so. And if you do not want to be on it, please just get a hold of me and we'll take care of that. But otherwise, you can just come in and invite yourself in and put your feet up on our couch, right? And just become a CBN listener, and we'll follow through with that. So with that, we'd like to close out. I'll see all you guys next week. David, I look forward to you being a speaker at the appropriate time. So I'll see all you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you
very much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.